game-changing discussions on the big ideas that shape our thinking. This is One2One. Previously on One2One.
When the organizers of the festival were announcing the film, they actually told us that this is the first time. If the organizers recognized it as a Nigerian film, who are we to now begin to say, oh, it is not a Nigerian film and all that? But it has put Nigeria on the map.
It has.
And then the other thing it has done for Nigeria is that there's going to be some attention to our content now. I mean, I was very proud of that moment. In fact, I had goosebumps when they said from Nigeria, when they walked on the red carpet in Cannes. We go to Cannes every year, but we don't get on that carpet.
Of course, when we talk about the movie industry in this country, we're talking about that industry that we all affectionately refer to as Nollywood.
Nollywood,
yeah. It's been going, 30 years, thereabouts, and you've seen it all. The entire evolution, the trajectory of the industry. You have borne witness to that. And of course, I'm sure we've all seen it grow in leaps and bounds. I'm sure you, from an even more technical side of things, you've seen things develop and evolve. So I'm going to ask you a question that I've asked at least one other individual from your industry who I've had the pleasure of interviewing. Has Nollywood arrived? And would you say that we're right now at that point at which we are able to stand shoulder to shoulder with other products from other clients?
I would say that I won't say that Nollywood have arrived, because if you say something has arrived, then you have gotten to the point. But I would say we're here. Nollywood is here. It's at the stage where it's beginning to get global relevance. You know, and very real. And it's not just one-off, They talk about us. They hold conferences about us now. They are beginning to accept our products. Our products are going far and wide. We have products now that can be seen in different parts of the world. I mean, we have the example of Black Book, which launched on one streaming platform, and then it's seen in about 93 countries.
That's RMD.
The one by RMD, the one by Black Book.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
We had some other ones not too long ago. We made it to Cannes.
Yes, we did. You talk about that.
Yeah,
yes,
it's huge, and that's not even the first time we have been selected at very prestigious festivals. We have conquered Toronto. We have been to Toronto severally. We've had selections in Toronto, severally in Sundance, Sundance, and so on. So we are here, and we are determined to go even further, even to the point of arrival. Yet we can't stand shoulder to shoulder. I won't pretend about that. Yet, we can't say we are standing shoulder to shoulder, but we have potentials of standing shoulder to shoulder with any other industry in the world.
And we're on a journey.
Yeah, we are on that journey. Even the practitioners are determined. Government on its part is determined to play that role, that expected role, to get them to that point. Because what government generally needs to do, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that, is to create the environment, and all that. And even from what we had in Cannes, government created something like a platform called Screen Nigeria, where people were able to use the opportunity to network, to sign deals and stuff like that. So we'll get there. We have the potentials, we have the talents, we have the stories, that will properly resonate with everyone. Original stories, that is. Because if you check, most of the time, these guys come back here, pick up our stories and tell it to us, back to us, and then we'll be screaming. But we have the stories, we have the talents, we have people who are passionate about making films, and all that. And I'm sure we will, very soon, with the right structures in place, very soon we will have said, okay, we have arrived.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's quite evident that we are on that journey.
Yeah.
And we are making very, very strong, very significant progress.
Yeah.
So Shaibu is saying it's how we get there, though, isn't it? That really is the issue. And I'm quite pleased that you've spoken about collaboration and being deliberate. But It occurs to me though, that events like Cannes, Eurovision Song Contest, they actually feature movies, events, productions that are literally owned by countries. Okay. As you said, this is not about commercial content.
Yeah.
It's about soft power.
Yeah.
Okay. So to what extent do you feel that we have succeeded? I'm talking about policy and strategy now. Okay. In getting behind, picking a movie, getting behind it and sending it to Cannes, which is essentially what happened with this movie that we're talking about here, British government and the BBC.
Yeah, there's a movement now towards that direction, especially with the setting up of that platform called Screen Nigeria. The Screen Nigeria is one aspect of the Nigeria Everywhere program of the Federal Ministry of Arts, Culture, Tourism, and Creative Economy. Now that this has happened, I mean, we're just a year or two in office. We had a meeting on return from Cannes with the managing director of the Nigerian Film Corporation. And we sat down in a strategy meeting and we felt that we need to identify stuffs like this, promote them, not only promote them, but support them, to get the right, festival managers, programmers, who will look at the production as it's made. Then from there, they can advise on what we can do. We tried it with one project, even before I became DG of the Film and Video Censors Board. And what killed it for us, the project was almost going to get into a major festival like Berlin. But what killed it for us was the advice of a distributor to have that film premiere in Europe before it premiered in Nigeria. And the moment you premiere the film in Europe, it has already gone everywhere. So no festival will touch it. So we need to also know how to plan those strategies. So we said maybe what we do going forward is to ensure that we give the kind of support that we need to give, to filmmakers who are interested in having their films go there. And we have provided, me personally, I've provided advisory, to some filmmakers when they get to me. And now that I'm even in government, it's even more, it's even better, now, so that once we identify those kind of films, then we can always get them, give them some support, to be able to talk to programmers. Because whether you like it or not, that film did not get into Cannes just because somebody submitted it. We had programmers who identified the film, who saw the potential of the film, and said, okay, this film can go. So we are hoping that we have that kind of using the Screen Nigeria platform, we'll be able to support projects, of this magnitude, so that these projects can actually get into those big time festivals, and then we also support with the promotion of the festival. The Nigerian Film Corporation, for instance, this year supported the screening of the film in Cannes, but it wasn't part of the Cannes selection. But it supported it, and why did he do that? So that they can find marketers, they can find international distribution and sell for it. That's the much that government can really do. Create those kind of environments, for you to now pick it up from there. So if after that screening in Cannes, they find a distributor, it will be the responsibility of the international distributor to begin to see how this film goes, you take the film around the international circuit and all that. So we are ready to provide those platforms. And then our distribution conference too that we're having in November will bring some of these programmers into the country. And then they'll have some kind of clinic with our filmmakers to let them know the kind of films that are there. I know some filmmakers will say, oh, festival is not our thing. Our thing is to make money. But man, what a mention in Cannes can do to your career. So you can imagine it. Like the guys, they got a special mention, special jury mention for their certain regard. So that means their names have entered into the books. And if they have another work that they have to submit tomorrow, somebody will look at it critically and then say, okay.
Absolutely. So Dr. Hussaini, you're a man who has worn and still wears many hats. You're a former member, for example, of the Nigerian Official Selection Committee for the Oscars. I'd like to talk about movies that have made it to the Oscars, or gotten close to making it to the Oscars. So the best foreign language film category, the Oscars, for example. The last time a film from the African continent reached the final shortlist for an Academy Award in this category was, I believe, Abdurrahman Sissako
yes.
for Timbuktu.
Timbuktu, yeah.
And that was in 2015. The last and only time the continent actually won the Oscar was 20 years ago. There's a movie called Tsotsi.
South African.
South Africa, absolutely, it was a South African submission. So what, in your opinion, stands between us, I mean the Nigerian film industry, and that final step to be nominated for and even winning this long-awaited, coveted prize of the Academy Award? What needs to happen, in your view?
We need to be, I will still use this term, we need to be deliberate. You don't just enter these competitions. So Tutsi that won, or Timbuktu that won, that got to that level that they did. There were films that were made for that. You didn't just make a film, exploit it commercially, and then you now pick it up and say, okay, because they're asking for best foreign language, and the movie is in Igala, you know, you are just going to put it in. There are other factors, there are technical factors that are involved, you know. Even to get the film to pass the technical stage is an issue, not to talk of now getting it to a level where people will look at it and then they will select it to make nomination. So we have to be deliberate. If a movie wants to get into, I said it earlier, that if a movie wants to get into the selection for best international feature, yeah, the movie has to start to work. You have to start the work now. Look at the level of the language that you use, because you know there's a ratio of foreign language that has to be used against English. So if you want to make it totally the language, you know what to do. You know what to do with the transcription. You know what to do with the sound that you need. It's not your conventional sound. The thing is that once you submit, you start the technical race. Once it gets past the technical race, then the issue of promotion, the issue of lobbying now comes in. And that's where those two countries got it right, you know, because it has passed that stage. Then the countries now came behind it, especially South Africa. South Africa came behind that film. You know, I remember at that time I was in LA or so, and I saw that I got a pack, you know, when I went to a cinema to watch the film, because it has to be exhibited theatrically, internationally, for it to be able to get some members of the jury to watch the film. Because if you want them to just sit down and receive the pack that comes from the organizers of Oscars, sometimes some of those films don't get seen by those people. So you have to be deliberate about the promotion, about getting people to go to the theater, and these things cost a lot of money.
It's the politics of the award.
The politics of the award. You have to be involved in the politics of the award. And what I want to assure is that if we have a film that passes through the technical stage of the film, I'm very sure that the Nigerian Film Corporation will put their weight behind it. I'm calling the Nigerian Film Corporation because their job actually is to, they're a developmental agency, they're a growth agency, they're an agency that is supposed to promote our films. We too, we can support, you know, promotion of films too, because it all brings glory to the country. So we have to be deliberate about the filmmaking. And I'm sure that because we want our name everywhere, you know, we will do the politics when we get to that bridge. And I know we have a minister who wants Nigeria to be everywhere. So because of that, if we have a film that has passed through the technical stage and it's aiming to be nominated for the Oscars and then even eventually win, we push our weight behind it and support it and really play the politics. So for us in the last couple of years, we didn't get to the stage where we would talk about politics of the award. We just got knocked off mostly at the
Technicalities,
stages. Yeah.
So Dr. Hussaini.
Yes.
Schindler's List. 12 years a slave. You can tell where I'm going with this, can't you? Apocalypse Now. Timbuktu. All the President's Men, Do the Right Thing, Oppenheimer. These are movies, very successful, huge critical acclaim, dealt with very tough and in some cases quite harrowing, traumatic subject matter. These movies have taken a raw, very honest, unflinching assessment of society. Okay, and they require society to take a long, hard look at itself and to examine the consequences of past, present, and even future actions. I'd like to hear from you what you feel, okay, as a regulator, but actually, most importantly, as a film critic, about the growth and development of our societal values and what you feel film, movie making, what sort of role you feel it has to play in acting as a witness, a window, an umpire, if you like, and the responsibility it has to deal with these issues in a very critical manner.
Okay, thank you so much. You see, beyond the entertainment value that films that we get from films, the other thing that they do is they remind us of our past, they educate us, they inform us, and so on. Some of these films that you have mentioned were more about our past, about our values and all those stuff. Films have a lot to do, but where you have the issue is the choices that the producers or the directors make in the kind of narrative that they tell and how they tell this narrative. I'm sure you are asking because you feel that some of these things may come under our long knife. Some films usually come under our long knife, and they do because we feel that societies are different. What can be permissible, for instance, in the US may not be permissible here. We had something called radio court and club court. So you make music that you play in club, and then you make music that can go on radio for everyone to hear. Likewise, if you're a filmmaker, if you're making a film, you look at the environment where you are going to sell those films, and you make those films to suit the sensibilities of that environment where you are making the film. There are some that will take it, and there are some that will tell you, oh no. I know about societies where if you do anything to touch on religion, to touch on their culture, they will not allow that film to circulate in that area. Recently, I've seen that some musical videos of, let me digress a bit, some of our big stars, their musical videos are becoming very decent. Now, there's a reason. There are some territories where their musical videos cannot be seen. I was in Cyprus not too long ago, and I wanted to see the video of one artist that just came out. The artist is notorious for commodifying women in the film, smoking. They will display drinks, like very hard drinks on the table and all that.
We won't say who that is.
Oh, well, we will not try so that the person does not, So I was in Cyprus. I wanted to watch the video. And they told me, I tried everything. They told me that this video cannot be seen because it goes against our, songs. There's a way they describe it. They restricted in this zone. That's what they told me. And that's because you were objectifying women. You were smoking everywhere, everybody. There were about 7 people in one room singing. They were all smoking. And it's not just the ordinary smoke or whatever they call it and all that. So they stopped that. So what I'm saying is that if you're producing content, if you're a content creator for this environment, and you know that there are certain things that you cannot express, there are several ways that you can say those things subtly, and then it will pass. But if you now come and say, oh, you want to say it the way it should happen, the way the story was told in 1994 or in 1940, and then you want to bring it and slap it on the audience, you are going to have issues. You are really going to have, because to manage sensibilities here is something else. I remember a film not too long ago. Just behind the scene, pictures of that film came out. And the behind the scene was that some people were dressed in a particular costume meant for a particular religion. And they were going to use it to rob in a bank. And everybody started calling me, just behind the scene, not the film itself. And then when we reached out to the producer and we found out that actually they were going to use those costumes to commit that act, we just reached out to the producers and we told them that Nigeria is so sensitive, a country for you to make this. If you put this out in the US or in Europe, it may just pass. But here, I'm afraid it will not pass because they will almost burn down this country with this narrative that you are trying to push. They saw reason and then they decided to go the other way around with it and all that. But you see, if you now say, let's tell the story, because they were trying to tell me that was a true life story. It happened sometimes in the 80s and all that. But you can't just tell the stories the way they are. In other societies, they can pass. But here, you have to find a way to tell that same story you are telling, but making sure that you are not abusing the sensibilities of people, making sure that you are not causing social harm to a people.
So I'd like to talk to you a little bit as an individual who has had a long history as a journalist, a film critic, a creative, and you've also had a very long history and association with, as a member of the jury board of the African Movie Academy Awards, which of course is one of the most prestigious award ceremonies in the motion picture industry in Africa. The founder, of course, of that movement, of the AMAA, Peace Anyam Osigwe, very sadly passed away in January of 2023. I'd like to talk to you a little bit, or I'd like you to talk to me a bit about her legacy. What was she like? And what would you say she has actually bequeathed to the Nigerian and African film industry? And more to the point, how are we going about immortalizing this legacy in some way?
Peace. Peace is one person that I really don't want to talk about in the past, because I still believe that even 2 days down the line, that she's still around somewhere, maybe not physically, but looking down at us and saying, okay, you're doing right, okay, you're not doing well. Peace was one person that I felt that should be even around when this appointment was made, because I'm sure she will be saying, maybe all you have put into the industry has eventually paid off for you. But Peace was huge. She was huge. She was passionate about this. She started very early as a filmmaker, even though she studied law. But she put everything into it and got to a point where she felt that, there was no recognition for African filmmakers. There was no recognition for Nigerian filmmakers. That we should set up a reward system where annually we'll gather both filmmakers in the continent and those in the diaspora, and we'll reward ourselves and we'll treat ourselves and thank ourselves for the work that we do. And she set up this African Movie Academy Awards. I didn't join until about the 3rd edition. And when I got into the 3rd edition, I started off as the selection committee, became the chairman, and annually we hosted one of the most prestigious awards that you have in the continent. We have had wonderful films, beautiful films. And so simply put, that award scheme that she founded, will be one of those things that they will forever remember her for. And one of the ways that we have used to immortalize her, especially at the level of the National Film and Video Censors Board, is that we have named our annual digital conference after her. The 4th edition that I held last year was where we unveiled the logo and named the national. It used to be just NFVCB Digital Regulatory Conference, but we now named it Peace Anyam Osigwe Digital Content Regulatory Conference. It holds every November and all that. So that's one step. The second step is to ensure that Ama continues. Ama does not go off because she's not there, and that's why some of us have even volunteered, to give some extra time to ensuring that we still serve maybe on the jury. I will count myself as those who benefited from her capacity building ability, because the moment she discovered that I was good at the work that I was doing, she exposed me to a lot of short internships at festivals and awards and all that. And I give her a lot of credit for my journey, so to speak, in the film and the film space and all that. So we really miss her, and we'll continue to do our best to keep Ama going. She was very passionate about film. You will even think that she founded the medium, the way she went, about it, but she was very passionate. She wanted us to be our own kings and queens in the industry. That's why this Ama, and under her, with Ama, she has brought the best from Hollywood to come. She was one person who believed in collaboration, who believed in making sure that we, the best practices. We have standards, as an industry. But we miss her.
Yeah, it's. I mean, so many people have given so much in society, and there's no doubt from the way you've spoken that this is one person who really touched many lives and did quite a lot to spur on.
A lot. And I'm very happy that while she was alive, government recognized her contribution and gave her the national honors of Member of the Federal Republic and the rest. Probably we'll be pushing for her to also be posthumously remembered, and maybe they promote her this time to a CFR, because her contribution, I must say, has been legendary.
Dr. Shaibu Hussaini, it's been quite an amazing conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much.
It's been my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.